With all that, do you still think you're getting reparations?
No, I don't, and I don't want to piss off my FBA and my ADOS people.
No, we pissing them off today.
No, because people don't like to hear.
We're not getting it.
People don't like to hear that it's not going to happen. I don't want to. How about this?
Okay, but because they are working hard. They are working hard. They are working hard.
I don't want to put negativity into it. But what I would say is that
we hope it would happen.
You hope that it would happen, but do you know what I hope more than anything? What? I hope that people understand the depth of what took place in the country. I hope you understand why we're having the conversation. Because the understanding of why we're having the conversation is probably the most important thing. Because if we all sit around and we talk about what was done or how things happened or the way things were set up, then we can understand why we need each other so much. We can understand why some of these things are so petty, while some of these other things are things that we shouldn't be like really considering, why unity, group operations, and all of these things are so important, right? Like, black people own the most land they've ever owned in America at what point in time? Who knows?
The 1800s.
1905, close. That's when we owned as more land than we've ever owned. The top 4 white landowners in America right now own more land than 40 million black people combined.
Damn.
Like, you don't get there without like a deliberate, multi-generational plan to keep people in their place. And the only way that can be beat back is if you give a fuck about what happens to the black people around you.
And come together, too.
Hey, look, so do y'all remember hearing, I say probably like a year ago, it was on the news and stuff, one of these beaches, I don't know if it was Venice Beach.
Bruce's Beach,
where it's owned by black people.
Word up.
They sold it.
And they stole it. So you talking about some shit like that.
I'm talking about ways, there's a bunch of different ways that they stole all your land. One way they stole it is they just sent a bunch of people with guns and bombs and they took it. Rosewood, Greenwood, North Carolina, different places they took.
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
So, like, that's Greenwood.
And then and with those young ladies, well, not young, they are a little older. But they still alive, still fighting for that. But that's crazy how they still like denied them in court.
Denied them even now, right? So another way that they stole it is from the fact that they use usury, contract buying schemes. They also did stuff like, so we couldn't get lawyers. So because we couldn't get lawyers, we couldn't draft wills. Because we couldn't draft wills, then after the fact that we couldn't draft will, you die.
It goes to the government.
There's something called heirs property, which is what they'll do. If it's all of us and we're brothers and we own the land together, then the land is much more susceptible to somebody coming in and taking it, than it would be if the land was in a trust. So there are all kinds of things that they use to take land and to stop us from buying more.
Do you think kind of like brainwashing manipulation had a big part of it? Kind of promising things, kind of like how the Europeans did the Native Americans? When they came here, you think like promising them all these medicine, all these resources? I mean, I don't know too much too much in depth about Black history, but what I'm saying is, was it like a lot of good mouthpiece and things we just weren't knowledgeable, right? Everybody's clueless at this point, right?
So really, it's a battle of cultures, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're from Africa, a vast place where there's more land than there are people, right? The imperative there is to learn how to live in symbiosis with the people that you see, and also with the land that is around you, right? That's the imperative there. If you are a Western European, it's a smaller place. And the battle lines that draw the countries up there, there's a lot of fighting that has to go on. I mean, if you're in Europe right now, you can essentially get to 3 or 4 countries on one train ride in one day. That's a smaller place.
Let me ask you this, because we were just talking about wills. You were just talking about wills and trust and shit like that, and I was just talking to my homies, and it's been a conversation for the past couple weeks, and I was like, it's kind of like almost gatekeeping with financial literacy between my people. Like, if I want to figure something out, it's almost like I gotta go buy a fucking course to do it, or a nigga just won't fucking tell me. You know what I mean? Like, what does this fucking will mean? What does this fucking living trust mean? Where do I put my LLCs in here? In my living trust, what works? What? How do I go get these mutual funds? How much money I gotta put in them? Who runs it? What's this? Who takes the percentage out? Like, why do people keep saying don't put your money in the bank? Where the fuck do I put it? How do I get it out? Like, how do I get this business credit? How do I get these credit cards? Why can't I just go fucking ask one of you niggas that know?
See, but it's
I gotta take a course for 500, bitch, and you still not telling me.
but
I'm just trying to figure it out. Why are we gatekeeping the information?
It's a lack of information, but we do
It's a lack of information, but you niggas, some of these niggas know, so why not just tell each other?
But think about it. We all do that shit here. Half the niggas on this couch, well, not half, but a big chunk have been in the streets, niggas gangbang. Niggas can't even sit down and say, hey, get along with people that live down the street with us, you feel me? And we ask stuff like this, like, oh, this is this, and everybody gatekeeps everything, bro.
We can't even say hi, bitch. You want me to tell you about how I got my LLC, bitch?
That makes
But we
that makes absolutely
no real shit.
No, what do you mean?
We politic on everything. That's like right now. If I told you right now, bro, hey, go sit down on the course of one of your enemigos right now, you're gonna say that's what I'm not doing.
Exactly, bitch. So you
feel
can't
me?
say hi.
So
That's the first
not,
thing.
But that's not good though. So I'm just trying to say
No, but I'm saying it's the self-hatred that we have for each other first. We got to break that barrier before we sit there and work. Like I said,
how long do I gotta wait for a motherfucker to break that barrier for you to actually tell me what's going on,
You know-
so I
Right.
can
you know
take
what
care of my
the-
kids?
Yeah, but you gotta
might
open
not
the
never
door.
know. You might gotta die and leave this earth, and then your next generation will know, but you won't know.
Shit,
know-
bitch,
you know
I'm
what?
gonna know before I get off this stream because he gonna tell me.
Hey, you know what's funny though? I asked that question a lot. Like my father passed away a couple of years ago. You know what I got left? Nothing, right?
Yeah.
And my dad, that financial literacy wasn't there. My father was a hardworking man. You know, he made a lot of money during his life, but that financial literacy wasn't there. The reason why I really admire guys like Earn Your Leisure, and different people like that, Wall Street Trapper, different people like that. is
19 keys.
19 Keys is one of the best, a fountain of knowledge in so many different things.
Brother Ben X.
Like a fountain of knowledge in so many different things. All of those brothers in different pockets, right? The reason why I appreciate those guys is because, and I've told most of them this, is because that's knowledge that I didn't have. I will say this though, and it doesn't really apply to a lot of those dudes because a lot of the stuff that they do, you could just listen to their podcast and get it, right? I will say this. I will say the point that t-rell is making is a point that I've asked myself a lot. Like, there's got to be a way. I'm not gonna tell anybody how to get their money. But there's got to be a way to get this fucking information that's vital to community building, financial information to people without them having to come listen to you talk on a Saturday and pay bread or buy your online course. There's gotta be some way to do that.
Man,
You know what I'm saying?
let's keep it real. That shit is in books, but niggas ain't gonna sit there and pick up a book. There's ways that you can get all the information
That's
in
facts.
the world. You know what I'm saying? And that's even like people be like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. Nigga, you can go on YouTube and find out whatever the fuck you want to find out
That is facts.
right now. If you want to do that.
But
It's about taking the initiative to sit there and say, I'm gonna find this shit out.
That's
we
fact.
shouldn't have to go to nobody to teach us something.
But-
because then again, that's them teaching a course, that's business, and they just doing what they gotta do for their business.
Let's just say, okay, you find out about a mutual fund. Okay, you like, okay, what's that? You can go research it.
100%.
From a nigga just telling you that, but what if you just never knew what the fuck a mutual fund was? Like, what if you, like, niggas never told you about nothing financially, like, to discover, like, so to actually research, like,
You
what do
saying
you
have
do
know what
then?
the best-
the
you know what
information
the-
available
you know-
before you even looking for it.
You know what the best way to the best place to learn that from is from your parents. And that's the real thing. The reason why it's important for us to learn that is because you need to be leaving your kids some bonds. You need to be leaving your kids some land. You need to be leaving them something. Everything that we teach our youngsters how to do, we teach it to them out of necessity. Let me teach you how to tie your shoes so that you don't want to run around falling down. Let me teach you how to do this. Let me teach you how to do that. Let me teach you, like my daddy taught me how to piss how to piss in the thing. Like everything that you need to have is like your parents teach you that. The question is, why isn't this part of it a need to have? Like financial literacy. Why isn't knowing your rights and knowing what's legal and illegal? Why isn't cycling your weapon? Why isn't it like I got my first shotgun when I was 7 years old? You know what I'm saying? 7 years old was the first time somebody put a gun in my hand. By the time I was 12, I was proficient. By the time I was 15, I was knocking shit the fuck out. You put something in my hand, I know what to do with it. So all of these things, why aren't these things like these things are a part of being to me? I don't want to make it about gender, but it's part of being a comprehensive man is knowing all of these things. We teach people we teach our kids what they need to know, which is that Bible. We teach them that, and we teach them to give 10% of the money that they're making, that they don't even have a bank account for yet, to the church, and we don't ask the church what the church is doing with the money. I love God, but let's keep it real. We don't ask the church what they're doing. We don't ask how the church is reinvesting that money. We don't ask none of that. So all of this stuff, we learn it, but the way it gets passed on is through our progeny. We teach our kids this.
Yeah, but we come from a lot of broken homes.
Yeah,
so
but
there ain't nobody, you know, a lot of single mothers. Like my mama ain't never knew nothing about the
Somebody
financial
got to
literacy.
care about your mom. So
Exactly.
What I'm saying is, for the single ladies out there that's raising the kids, yeah, there has to be a sense of community where we understand that when the savages start savaging, they don't travel for it. Mm-hmm. Savaging is almost always a home game. Almost always 1, 2, 3 blocks over. If we was exporting niggas to go savage, if we was raising them in South Baton Rouge and sending them to Bocage or sending them to the LA Country Club, that would be one thing. But these niggas savage in their own backyards. So every single kid that you forget about is one you're gonna have to deal with later. You know what I'm saying? And so what I'm saying is, you go like either take care of him or he gonna fucking take care of you. You need to make a decision. So those single mothers that need that information and that help, we need to give a fuck about them.
For sure.